We are going to get ready for a Wienerschnitzel. Now, a Wienerschnitzel traditionally is made with veal, which gets to be very, very expensive. And also, I personally have an issue with using veal myself because of how the animals are treated. So I bought pork, which is another traditional way of making Wienerschnitzels, as well as chicken. Now, I've already pounded out the pork and the chicken, but as Olaf will demonstrate, he's going to demonstrate how to pound out the chicken. Okay, good. I was afraid he was going to make a mess. Yes.
Like they really need to be trained how to hit meat with a hammer.
You do. Sadly, you do. Now, we're using wax paper. I actually recommend using Reynolds wrap, not the tin foil, but the clear cellophane, because it holds a lot better than the wax paper. The wax paper will rip very easily. And so he's going to fold it over, and he's actually got it 4 ply, so it's 4 on the bottom, 4 on top for the wax paper. We use wax paper because we can actually throw it into the fire when we're done and dispose of it that way. So it's also important to note there's 2 parts of a tenderizer. There is the prickly part, and then there's the flat part. Don't use the prickly parts. And you're wanting to make things about 1 centimeter or less thin, so it's very, very thin. I've got quite a bit to go right there. That was good. Now, if you do it with too much force, it's actually going to disintegrate it in some areas. So you want to make sure you're using an even tap. And I love Wienerschnitzel. Absolutely love it. And we're actually going to prepare it in the traditional German style. So once he's got that prepped, it's actually pretty good. Excellent. So what he's going to want to do then is he's going to want to put some flour in a pan. So we've got flour right here. That's what those are breadcrumbs. You gotta go get flour. Do you want to take the pan? And so while he's there, we actually have stuff that I've already pre-prepped. So this is the pork. So they're nice layers, and what we're going to do is we're going to flour each patty first, and then we're going to dip it in egg. We're going to salt and pepper each side, then dip it in egg, and then we're going to dip it in breadcrumbs. What we're using instead of regular breadcrumbs is we actually ground up the breadcrumbs even finer, so that they're very, very extra fine breadcrumbs, because it'll show up a lot better. If we try to use big ones, they're just going to fall apart in the oil and make more of a mess. So he's going to take the chicken first, because that's going to be a little easier to manage. How's the oil, Risa? Excellent. Now what she's doing is she's pulling out the spatula with a slotted spoon, and she's putting it in cheesecloth to drain away the water, because that'll be ready for serving. So we go flour first. So we take away the patty, we'll flour it. We want to make sure it's completely covered in flour, and then we're going to salt and pepper it. My hands are smaller than his. Okay, there we go. And then he's going to egg dredge it. And then he's going to roll it in breadcrumbs. And then he's going to repeat for as many as we want. This is a lot, because this is our dinner tonight. Yes. Now, Spatzel traditionally has breadcrumbs. How about we wait for the breadcrumbs until we plate?
Alright.
Alright. Alright, so we'll continue this. He's going to egg those up and breadcrumb them, because we're getting close. We're going to fry these up, because there's another tradition. People will just think, oh, you just have to fry this up and that's it. And there's other steps added to this. So we're just going to begin with the chicken.
once was a thin patty.
Yes. All right. And traditionally, when we make this with veal, it's usually about that big around, but because we're using chicken tenderloins, they're awfully smaller. They're going to be a little bit more manageable bite size. They're nice and done. So let's go ahead and take those.
All right.
Dry. Then what we're going to do,
So the promo,
it takes about 2 minutes because they're pounded pretty thin. The thicker the pork or chicken is, the longer it has to take. This is almost paper thin. The pork we actually have to cook a little while longer because it is a little thicker. We're going to hold off. We'll cook up the rest later. We're just going to quick. You will need a lemon twig, a lemon half. There you go. Now, Wienerschnitzel, a lot of finer restaurants will do a whole quarter of a lemon because it looks pretty. In traditional German restaurants, they actually serve with a half a lemon because one, you can remove the seeds a lot more readily, and also it's a lot easier for them to grip because no one wants to get lemon juice on a cut finger. And so it's a lot easier. So we actually use the whole lemon, put that off to the side like that. And I get that seed out of there. I'm picky. So we got these. Nothing.
Alright.
And then once she's done frying it, there's one other step, and there's a fry pan that has melted butter in it. And so after frying the Wienerschnitzel, what she will have to do is she'll have to dredge it through the melted butter before plating it. This has the authentic German taste to it. Traditionally, they would not use butter, they would actually use lard. And I don't know about you, I really don't want to eat more lard than I have to.